my name is Gabrielle. I am an astrologer here in Burlington, Vermont. I just kicked off this new vision for myself and my communication abilities to share with you, people that are close to me, the themes in astrology that are meaningful at these moments. And that can be on a weekly basis, a bi weekly basis, monthly. There is just so much that you can tune into for cosmic timing, like time your life, time your events, your sadness. This week was actually kind of a heavy week, and I'm referring, today is February 20th, it's Friday. I'm actually traveling to Mexico tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I'm flying out of Montreal. I'm flying into Puerto Vallarta, and I'm so excited about it because I'm going to be with some of the most wonderful women I have ever met. And I certainly brought into my middle age my own childhood baggage with girlfriends and like what that is like in, growing up and the different phases you go through with other women. And I feel so healed in that department and so fortunate to have really special friends that I can go do something like this with, which is all of us going to Mexico, staying in little casitas. It'll be part of my friend Haley Blair's Untamed retreat. She'll be hosting more. I'm really impressed with what she offers in this space with her partner Saturn. And today I am immediately excited to dive into next week's new moon because it is sort of a portal to these new beginnings that you really want, but they're going to take about 6 months to germinate. So the basic astronomy of new moons and full moons is that there is like a birth version of that new moon, and then later in the year you see the full moon version of the seeds planted on that new moon. So if you feel like you're an impatient person or like a person that is, is very familiar with forcing things to completion, forcing things across the finish line, making things done, and just operating at full tilt most of the time until you crash and then you get upset because you didn't take care of yourself in the process. What I love about astrology is it really does slow you down and gives you time to understand your relationships with the companionship of astrology. It helps you understand the dynamics of your partner more in depth so you can have empathy. You're like, oh, that's that herb and spice from your natal chart, which is all the herbs and all the spices of you. Astrology is so much more than a horoscope where you just like read a caption about your sun sign, which is really just how you live your day-to-day life. It's not the inner you. It's not the behind the scenes you or the hidden you. It's not like the responsible dealing with major life events you. It's just the day-to-day you, and how you sort of shine out in the world. But there's also communication points ruled by Mercury, which is the communicator in the mind. There are also Venus points pointing to the planet Venus, which is the planet of harmony and beauty and the arts and art makers and creatives and femmes, and also what you want to spend money on. So if you love something, you're gonna buy it, right? If you love sailing, you're gonna buy a sailboat. If you love music, you're gonna buy yourself an instrument. So Venus rules beauty and how you interact with it financially. So I bring up Venus also because in the sky presently, you can see Venus. She is an evening star. And she goes through a transition every year, every 6 months or so, where she transitions from an evening star to a morning star. But there is an underground journey that occurs with that transformation, and we see it in the sky. So if you were to go out tonight after sunset, you would see Venus, boom, immediately brighten and sparkle on the horizon. But she's in the process of transitioning behind the horizon. And that the symbolism of that should land pretty quickly. And it's an underworld journey, and it makes me tear up because I have some very like raw and like percolating feelings in my heart that I'm still understanding how to describe to you. Is actually particularly with this video, with my interest in astrology. Like, I love astrology, but I make juice. I make organic juice. I bottle it in glass mason jars. I have a whole kitchen in my apartment. So while I'm here in my, matching set and my hair pulled back, I have a kitchen set up that overlooks the Adirondack Mountains, a beautiful view of Lake Champlain, a gorgeous kitchen that my husband helped build out in certain like countertops and drawers and spaces, and install lighting. And it's like a special space. And I just got a home catering license earlier this year. And we've been doing a lot of manifestation work, a lot of behind the scenes work, and just the whole synopsis and the vibe of astrology right now is slow. It's just slow. And then the only contrast to that is just patience, persistence, just keep on going up. Like, you don't have to like going up, and not every step is going to feel good, and your muscles will get sore and tired. But like, stop, breathe, look around you, and notice, like, remind yourself that you're going up. No matter what, you're going up. So if this is hard and you just lost your lease, or you just had like a mind blowing new relationship experience that came out of the blue and was unexpected, get ready to reflect on these things for real now. Venus retrogrades are that inside space. So it's more internal work this winter. I bring up the retrograde because Mercury retrogrades about communication failures, or just not having things sort of in order, or using that time to get things organized. Like, if you have a messy desktop and you always save a file to your desktop and every screenshot just kind of lands there, a Mercury retrograde would be like, my standards are higher now. A clean desktop is important to me, and I'm going to choose to do the work to get that desktop clean while I move through my taxes, while I pick up my house, while I alphabetize my bookshelf, because new standards are born during that time, and then you do the work. So it's a doing the work side. So Mars has been retrograde approximately since October, when it entered shadow. And shadow is essentially like whatever degree the planet stations retrograde at. Like, if like, right, for instance, Mars is going to go direct at 17 degrees on Sunday, February 23rd, and it's happening at 17 degrees. And it's just going to sort of hang there for a while, maybe through March or even April. It's just like at 17 degrees. So if you have anything at 17 degrees in your natal chart, specifically dealing with either with water signs, with and with Cancer, wherever Cancer is in your chart, it would be important to just sort of take a look at what themes might be coming up for you, because more transformation is on deck for this year. If you watch one of my earlier videos, I talk about just the number 2025. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. And just the deck of cards, the numbers 1 through 9, or the numerology of each of those numbers, they carry a lot of significance. You can do a lot with numerology, so intense. Just even doing the numerology of like your name, your social security number, like these numbers that have been assigned to you and that carry energy. So 2025 carries energy because it's a 9 year, and 9, it doesn't go to 10. We just deal with numbers 1 through 9, is a number that contains endings, major endings. Like, you can't go back and get it ending, like it's over and irretrievable endings. And it is pushing for major changes, and we've experienced those changes firsthand this year. We see them in our community. We see it in the government. We see it in like change of like values, people, just so many things. I don't even have to really specify what they are necessarily, but change is on deck for this year, and it's going to keep going. So the Mars retrograde going direct on Sunday is valuable because now is when the work really begins. Like, this is when the work starts. You've been doing all the setup. So if you're going to go cater a wedding, you got to like set yourself up, pack the car, unload the car, get it all set up, make sure everything's in place, and then you sort of begin and start serving and start cooking. But there's like, I feel like you can start cooking. You can actually start to do the real work, which is what this year is all about. It's like it's going to be the time where you actually hit publish. But before you do, Venus is going to station retrograde and Mercury is going to station retrograde, which is going to make sure you do it really well. Like, you're going to stick the landing if you do this healing work. And when I talk about healing work, what does that mean? I would say it's therapy, but using therapy to resolve, like do some more myth busting with yourself. I just growing up a normal person in an ordinary life, like I had yarns and balls of trauma hidden in different places that, unless I started talking about it, it wasn't really like that myth or that story I told myself wasn't changing, and then it shows up in your body. So you're not holding your memories up here, like you hold memories in your body. So part of my like Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, and also my own ability to self-reflect on my chart, where I have Gemini in my midheaven, which is a multifaceted, mutable, brainiac, multi-dimensional personality, and that's in my 10th house, which is where I connect with you. Otherwise, I feel like I have like a very private life where I'm, usually a mom, usually cleaning my house, usually running some errands, and then while I'm doing all that behind the scenes work, I'm constantly reflecting on astrology, or I'm making juice with organic ingredients and serving my community by making juice in my kitchen. So I use these YouTube opportunities to move through my thoughts and almost leave a virtual journal of like this time and place. My hand hurts if I write too much after a while. So I just can't write out all of these thoughts. Or I can take notes and I can look at charts and I can understand, but the moment I kind of hit record, I need this freestyle environment to just roll and intuit and speak openly and kind of hyperbolically about a lot of different things. So I'm slowing down during this time to understand how my investment in those interests is reflected back to you. So how do I take a juice business and an interest in astrology and an interest in meridian tapping and music and movement and achievement, like helping you achieve something that's valuable to you or interesting? Like, how do I help get you into that manifesting mindset and help you do myth busting on your body and help you drink something fabulous and clean and inspiring, and take all of these things and turn it into Wilder Vermont, where I am nourishing you mentally, emotionally, and physically. And we have an umbrella brand to do that would eventually offer outdoor time. And I have a vision of taking you foraging or teaching you about wild edible herbs or how to make something yourself in your kitchen. Like, what is this channel going to be all about? Wilder Vermont. I absolutely want to use it to talk about astrology and have these long form conversations, but I'm feeling really open-minded about what this space could eventually become. Like, 100 videos later, 200 videos later, like what does this space look like? So I'm sort of mentally signing up for a long-term relationship with YouTube. I would also recommend that with this new moon in Pisces, you absolutely do the same. So kind of back to that 2025 note about the number 9. So next year, 2026, is a number 1, and then we're going to go through 9 years again. So what you're signing up for now, the work you're doing now, the projects you are dedicated to now, that is what your life is all about, and it will be that way next year, and it's going to grow. So if you're planting seeds of negativity, self-doubt, scarcity mindset, like you're gonna have to change that this year. You have to change that this year, and I mean it. And I offer meridian tapping to do that myth busting. Why do I carry these negative thoughts? What is it about me that's actually creating this environment that I dislike? What am I bringing to a relationship, and not just what a relationship is bringing to me? Like, get to know yourself. Like, you in the context of your relationships and your marriage, in the context of your children, like knowing yourself, having more words to describe who you are and how you are in a situation, maybe even explain why you're stuck physically, mentally, spiritually, or materially, like, why. So we have to do some writing and to unwrite those things. So if that's all written down, some work you would do with me is to basically write it down again and really get specific. Like, what is it that I just don't like about myself? And it bothers you. Like, for me, like, I would say, like, I swear. I don't like it. I don't feel like that's like my personality, but like I'll say the F word, and I'll like use like expletives to be, funny or jokey. But then there's a part of me that just like doesn't want to say it, because even sometimes I'm around my kids, and because I haven't been cautious with, I like don't have the that filter with my friends, like it can land in the home, and then I like get all weird about it. But like that's something I would spend some time like writing down and wanting to move through. And then like just other stuff like that's honestly mostly parenting, that I know I need to get better at. But in order to get better at, I need to like spend time with it. Like, I'm not going to go get better at tennis just by thinking about it, or like better at dancing if I like never stretch and I like don't move my legs or even listen to dance music. Like, you need to like have some foundation for change. Like, if you want to change your relationship to dance, like you need to start like stretching the muscles that you would dance with, or try dancing, and then notice what comes up so that you can break through that part of your body that's feeling stuck or frozen. So that is all to say that next week there's a new moon in Pisces. I keep saying it. And it is a dream moon. And it's like funny to say dream big, because everyone's like dream big. But like dream in detail would be a better way to describe it. Dream in color. Dream it already has happened. Dream it exists. Dream you're like living there, walking there. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does it feel in your body for that to exist? And I recommend, participating in meditation. I recommend journaling. You can start now. Like, don't delay. I would recommend just basic house cleaning is important, but honestly, with Pisces and school break lining up, like I'm going to Mexico, so like I don't even want to put housekeeping or any cleaning projects on my agenda next week for the new moon. This is more about like, where is the sacred space in your body that can hold a vision that feels pure and capable and gentle enough and understanding enough to hold that vision for you with compassion and with trust and hope that it actually comes true. So you have to find that part of you, because change is coming. Big change in March. A lot of endings, and we'll see what those look like on a global scale. Like, I don't know what we're heading into with the stock market, with currency, with, you know, Civil War and American Revolutionary War and French Revolutionary War signatures repeating themselves in astrology. Neptune's going to enter Aries this spring, and it's been described as the fog of war. And it's hard to spend time with that. What is war, and what would war look like in our country given this like political and economic climate that's just gonna make people feel restless and unhinged? And then there's just like a lot going on. So knowing who you are in contrast to that like chaotic energy is really valuable, because it's you could just feed into the fear and have the content of today's terror and distress consume you, and whatever time you spend on your phone, whatever valuable time you have today and tomorrow and the next day, like how much of that valuable time are you using to like tune out, check out, or pay attention to something that actually doesn't move you forward? So I would say even March might even be like a good time for a digital detox. Neptune energy, which is very prevalent for the month of March, is happening at a 29 because Neptune's going to enter Aries. So there's a lot of activity. The North Node, Neptune, Saturn, a lot of like karmic endings are happening because of that 29. So if you think of like, why am I saying 29? What does that mean? So degree astrology measures the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And at 29 is the last degree of Pisces, and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And it is a water sign. And if you were to look at the other water signs, Scorpio and Cancer, mutable water for Cancer, fixed water sign for Scorpio, and cardinal water sign for Pisces. Scorpio is about the end of self. It's that like rising from the phoenix, that enormous change and renewed self through the ashes, like that intense material death to be reborn. And then I would say Cancer is the end of innocence. There's definitely like the Cancer like baby child in all of us somewhere in our chart. And Cancer is definitely the end of innocence. And then Pisces is the end, like the end, the unknown end, the impossible, irretrievable end. And Pisces is water, so I don't know, and there's like all this Neptune energy. I don't know what like water is gonna look like on a global scale. These planetary like signatures do pull focus on weather as well. So astrology, my advice is pay attention to it. It's actually it is valuable beyond belief to understand it daily, even weekly. If whatever you can take in of it, I would say any context is worthwhile. So that 29th degree in Pisces, we're going to see some game over energy, some big changes in the market, job market, currency, like you name it. Like it's all up for change this year, and it's supported by that 2025 signature of the number 9. We can't avoid it, in other words. So what can you control is the books you read, the thoughts you have, the things you do and no one's looking, how you live in your home, doing normal stuff. Like how do you move through that life? A friend I spent a lot of time talking to we've been doing magical to-do lists to help organize our thoughts but get it into forward motion. And the way you would do that is to write your name on one side of a piece of paper and then draw a line down the middle. And this could be your new moon exercise. While you also work with water elements because of all that Pisces energy I described, like Epsom salt baths, cold plunging. I was even like cold water, definitely cold water. Teas, baths are wonderful rituals for this new moon. Going to the ocean, going on vacation, going to Turks and Caicos, going to Mexico. These are like the vacation mindset of next week that just happens to line up with travel. So you would write down your name on this piece of paper, you draw a line down the center, and on the other side, you can write divine love, unemployed angels. You can write God, divine, are my heavenly parents, my trusted inner knowing, my source energy, and ask for help. So you could, like, Gabrielle has to pack her children's suitcases today. Because they're going with their dad to Western New York to see his family. So I need to pack those suitcases. I also need to make some lemon juice. I need to alert my cards that I'm leaving town and that I will be out of town, make sure I get cash and finish these, juice orders, and then just like whip myself and my house together and pack my own suitcase. So that's on my list. On the right hand side, after I've written universe and all those other wonderful names, like nicknames, you would ask in this column to please help. Please help me see what I have to do clearly and confidently so that I can feel successful at 2:00 when all of this housekeeping and recipe making needs to be done. I hope and I need your help making sure I'm on time to meet Lisa's dad at 12:30 with his juice order. That I feel like calm and grounded when my friend Sharon comes over to pick up her juice recipes. When I'm done packing, like that it all feels good and my house feels clear and purposeful and I feel ready for my trip. And what if it all goes right? So I would kind of like exalt what it is I need to have happen in this universe column and let that take hold. One last thing, and I hope you do this list, is that the new moon is happening at a 9, which means the moon and the sun will both be happening at 9 degrees of at the 9 degrees of Pisces. And 9, if you follow degree astrology, is a Sagittarian number. It is like that more intense need for self-expression and freedom. Like that's Sagittarius. I have like 6 signs in Sagittarius. Like, I can't help it. It's my moon. It's my Uranus. It's my Neptune. It's even my like Black Lilith. I just have Sag energy. So that is fun to imagine for next week, that 9 degrees. And then the Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Pisces is an aviator in the clouds. And that, in a sense, is simply sailing through life's difficulties. And how does that feel to literally put yourself above it all? Above it all. Set yourself on high and sail through these like sort of reckless landscape. Like an aviator in the clouds, and feel yourself moving through these obstacles with ease, because this new moon will be reborn as a full moon and pull focus on what you've accomplished in the next 6 months to come. So make the most of your dreams. Dream, don't just dream big, dream in detail, dream in color, and simply let yourself dream invite yourself to remember your dreams, say your prayers before you go to bed, and when you rise, to ask for help remembering and retrieving those dreams. And if there's any valuable information contained in them, to please let it be known. Like, I want to participate in my dream life could be an affirmation for next week. So be well, enjoy. Thanks for listening to all of this, and have a wonderful following week. And I'll tune back in when we have eclipse season in March and the next full moon eclipse in Virgo. There's going to be a lot to that. So we'll talk about it then. Bye-bye.